Today we're going to talk about movement. How does moving your body help to heal recurrent UTIs? I'm going to tell you. So one of the things that the brain will do, along with sending your bladder or your urethra those distressful signals like burning and urgency, the brain also tells the muscles around the area to tighten up, to guard, like those Queen's guards in London with their tall bear hats. Rigid, unmoving, not allowing for good function. And as you learn, the brain is actively involved with protecting you, and so protection and guarding is part of it. So how can we unguard these muscles, and which muscles are they? Well, of course, the first one is going to be the pelvic floor. And if you haven't seen the pelvic floor, I'm going to show you. So if this is your pelvis, your front of the pelvis, the back of the pelvis, your sacrum, and then on the bottom of this bowl are your pelvic floor muscles. And so they are shaped like a diamond, because girls, we have to have our diamonds. And in women, they have 3 openings. So they have the urethra opening to pee from. Right behind that is the vaginal opening. And the last one there, the rectal opening. So these muscles of the pelvic floor, they are involved with a lot of different functions: continence to prevent leaking, being able to open fully to allow for bladder and bowel elimination, being able to core stabilize. So when you move up from a chair and stand, your trunk muscles are all stable and supportive of your spine, your pelvic region. And also with sexual function, allowing for better orgasm, for better relaxation, all that. So your pelvic floor has lots of different functions. And so if the brain now is telling the pelvic floor to tighten up, it's also telling muscles like your deep hip flexors, the one in the sides of your spine, the hip rotators, the deep gluteal muscles, the inner thighs, the lower back. There's a strong correlation with chronic lower back pain stemming from chronic pelvic tension, because I'm going to share you with some really interesting information. A study was done with about 20 or 30 women. The study wanted to know what muscles tighten up first when a person is scared. So their participants volunteered to watch a film, and they had their body had a few areas of surface sticky electrodes on their muscles to measure the electrical current of that muscle. And so they place it on the shoulders, the inner thighs, pelvic floor, some other regions. So guess, when the scary bits came on in that movie, guess which muscle was the one that tightened first? Yeah, the pelvic floor. So we've learned that our pelvic floor is the first one to react when under worry thoughts or threat thoughts, or if we're feeling we're being attacked mentally or physically. A lot of patients, when I was working with them, would come in with recurrent UTIs and related pelvic issues. And I wanted to show them, what is your electrical activity of your pelvic floor muscles measuring? And usually a healthy pelvic floor muscle measures around 1 or up to 2 microvolts, which is the amount it's measuring a current, electrical current. We're electric. Anyway, so we found that majority of women with pelvic floor dysfunctions, instead of being at 1 or 2 microvolts, came in between 8 to 15, and some of them 25. 25 is like taking your fist and squeezing it really tightly. And guess what? This automatic tension is occurring day and night. It doesn't let up. So you can imagine your pelvic floor muscles are just not functioning well because they're always in a state of tension. So part of pelvic sense incorporates what I call move, and they are a series of 45 different gentle body movements that start out very easy, from diaphragmatic breathing, because diaphragmatic breathing, when the diaphragm, your big breathing muscle, descends when you take a deep inhale, it actually helps the pelvic floor also move. And a lot of times if the pelvic floor is sort of raised up, like stuck up too tight, the diaphragm will allow the pelvic floor to move, and hopefully with your work of calming and movement exercises, the pelvic floor becomes doesn't need to be guarding anymore because it's gotten more functional and you're aware of how to react with dealing with stresses. So I'm going to ask you to be mindful of movement is just as important as learning information, practicing mind work, and also doing movement. It is a trio of healing skills that makes the biggest effect on healing. And you certainly can do this type of pelvic sense work while you're seeing a physical therapist, while you're going to get treatments by your physicians, because it's a combination of you're treating your body, you're treating your mind, and you're engaging in learned and scientifically proven skill sets. And Pelvic Sense has put this together in an easy to follow way. I have people doing 20 minutes, 3 days a week. That's all you need, and over 3 months, because the nervous system, neurons, they need time to learn new skills. They need time to practice them. So learning and practicing the mind and body exercises, and you're going to get a sample now of what some of the exercises are. The very simple, I start very easy and very simple because we want to help the nervous system feel safe. So I thank you so much for taking the time to watch this. I hope you feel inspired to do Pelvic Sense, and I'll support you on your healing journey. Thank you.